Hello and a very good morning. You're watching the Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha television with me, Frank Pereira. Here are the headlines this morning. Prime Minister says Centre will work for consensus on passage of GST bill. Government to hold meeting with opposition parties. Congress says it is constructively engaged on issues with the Centre. Having nothing to hide on Kashmir issue, says Prime Minister Modi. Home Minister's reply to debate in Rajya Sabha rules out plebiscite in Kashmir, blames Pakistan for misguiding youth in the state. Ten CRPF jawans of the elite Cobra battalion killed in an IED blast in Aurangabad in Bihar. 3 Naxals eliminated in the encounter that followed. Jolt to the BJP in Punjab. Navjot Singh Sidhu resigns from the Rajya Sabha 3 months after nomination by the centre. Aam Aadmi Party gives indication that he may be the party's face for the assembly elections next year. And anti-Trump floor vote fails at Republican convention being held in Cleveland. Delegates fail in their final push to block Trump's nomination. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that his government has nothing to hide over the Kashmir issue. Under attack from the opposition over the ongoing unrest in the Kashmir Valley, Modi said that the centre would take everybody into confidence while dealing with the matter. The Prime Minister made these remarks during a meeting of the NDA constituents. The meeting came after the BJP Parliamentary Party executive. The Prime Minister also said that the centre will speak to all parties on the GST bill and seek to build a consensus for its passage.
All the constituents of NDA, they're all fully supporting the GST bill. They said as and when it is taken up, they will stand in favor of the bill in the House. And PM also explained about the importance of the GST, the need to pass it at the earliest, and also he mentioned about the Campa bill also. That is also equally important because the states are losing money. This money goes ultimately to the states. So keeping that in mind, he wanted that also will be taken up.
प्रधानमंत्री की बात हम हमेशा मानते आए हैं, जैसे कश्मीर के बारे में है। जीएसटी भी अगर नेशनल इंटरेस्ट की बात है तो मुझे लगता है सभी दलों को एक साथ बिठाकर प्रधानमंत्री ने, वित्त मंत्री ने, मैं नहीं कहूंगा 1-to-1 बात करो, लेकिन हर स्टेट का, हर पॉलिटिकल पार्टी का अपनी एक भूमिका है.
While insisting on ring fencing of the GST rate, the Congress on Monday said it was constructively engaged with the government on the issue but wants to prevent them from tinkering with the proposed tax reform. Senior Congress spokesperson Anand Sharma stressed on the need for clarity on the taxes that will be levied since the GST bill will bring about sweeping changes in the taxation structure and the manner in which indirect taxes are levied. The Congress wants a 1% additional levy allowed to manufacturing states in the current GST bill scrapped. It also wants an independent dispute redressal mechanism instead of the proposed GST council as provided for in the current bill. Sharma said that the Congress is now waiting for the next formal meeting with the government for a concrete response to take the matter forward.
The present ruling dispensation, the BJP, who opposed it for partisan politics, Congress opposition is principled and has rich merit, the issues that we have raised. And that's why we are now engaged constructively, and we will come back to you, but you will get to know, I'm sure, what if, as and when there is a forward movement after the next formal meeting.
Meanwhile, the centre has ruled out plebiscite in Jammu and Kashmir. Replying to a short-duration discussion in the Rajya Sabha on day 1 of the monsoon session, Home Minister Rajnath Singh blamed Pakistan for fueling unrest. The opposition sought an all-party meet to discuss the issue. Yes, Mo.
Home Minister Rajnath Singh replying to a debate on the ongoing Kashmir unrest in the Rajya Sabha. The Home Minister underlining the government's approach in dealing with the issue.
Militant के साथ शक्ति और आम जनता के साथ सिंपैथी, हम इसी पर कायम रहेंगे, इससे नहीं हटेंगे.
Rajnath Singh blaming Pakistan for the Kashmir unrest.
मैं यह मानता हूं उपसभापति महोदय, जो कुछ भी हो रहा है वो पूरी तरह से पाक स्पॉन्सर्ड है, पाक स्पॉन्सर्ड। कहने को तो नाम पाकिस्तान है, लेकिन हरकतें उसकी हर नापाक हैं। मैं कहता हर हरकतें नापाक हैं। आज एक हमारे देश में कोई आतंकवादी मारा जा रहा है और हमारे आंतरिक मामलों में पाकिस्तान हस्तक्षेप करेगा। और इतना ही नहीं, पूरे पाकिस्तान में ब्लैक डे मनाया जाएगा।
The Home Minister also ruling out plebiscite, saying the idea is outdated.
जो लोग आजादी की बातों को लेकर बराबर कश्मीर के नौजवानों को उकसाते हैं तथा कथित जनमत संग्रह की बात करते हैं, जो जनमत संग्रह की बात मैं समझता हूं कि अब पूरी तरह से आउटडेटेड हो चुकी है, इररिलेवेंट हो चुकी है, उसका कोई महत्व नहीं है। ऐसे सब सारे सवाल खड़ा करके लोगों को बराबर बरगलाने की उनकी तरफ से कोशिश की जा रही है। लेकिन हम लोग भी यह पूरी कोशिश करेंगे, कश्मीर का रहने वाला नौजवान हमारा है, हमारे परिवार का है। यदि उसको किसी ने बरगलाने की अथवा भगाने की कोशिश की है तो हम उसे सही रास्ते पर लाने की हम पूरी अपनी तरफ से कोशिश करेंगे।
Earlier initiating the short duration discussion on the situation in Kashmir in the upper house, leader of the opposition in the Rajya Sabha, Ghulam Nabi Azad, blamed the centre and the state for excessive use of force against the common people in the valley.
सर, मिलिटेंसी के खत्म करने के लिए हम आपके साथ, लेकिन कश्मीर में आम जनता के साथ इस तरह का स्वभाव हो, सलूक हो, मुझे माफ कीजिए, हम उसमें शामिल नहीं होना चाहेंगे आपके साथ।
Azad also blamed statements by ruling leaders in the state that flared up the situation. Leader of the House Arun Jaitley, while participating in the debate, admitted the situation is a matter of concern but rejected the allegation that it was due to the PDP-BJP alliance in power.
बिगड़ने का मूल कारण ये गठबंधन नहीं था। इस स्थिति को बिगड़ने का मूल कारण टेलीविजन पर दिल्ली में कोई कार्यक्रम आ जाए और जिन लोगों से हमारा मतभेद है वो लोग उस कार्यक्रम की चर्चा में शामिल हो जाएं, केवल उसकी वजह से स्थिति बिगड़ गई, ये अपने आप को हम धोखा देने का प्रयास न करें। ये बिल्कुल स्पष्ट है कि जब से ये देश आजाद हुआ और बंटवारा हुआ, हमारे पड़ोसी देश ने कभी भी यह स्वीकार नहीं किया कि कश्मीर घाटी भारत का एक हिस्सा है।
While the Congress sought an all-party meet on the issue and sought action against those responsible for the excessive use of force, the government urged everyone to speak in one voice to bring back normalcy in the state.
एक आवाज में बिना बटे हुए हम वहां के नौजवानों से भी अपील करें कि इस आंदोलन से अपने आप को अलग रखें ताकि पुलिस और सुरक्षा फोर्सेस को वहां पर कोई कार्रवाई करने की आवश्यकता भी न पड़े।
Several opposition leaders also asked the government to begin talks with separatists to get life back on track in the valley.
ये जान लीजिए कि इस समस्या का समाधान बंदूक और ताकत और फौज से भर नहीं है, राजनीतिक तरीके से उस समस्या का निदान करने का।
हमारे हिसाब से ये गलत किया गया है। वहाँ पर अब 3 और कंपनियों को या 30 और कंपनियों को भेज रहे हैं आप, गृह मंत्री और सरकार। वहाँ पे चाहिए डॉक्टर।
Days before the beginning of the monsoon session, several political parties had expressed their wish to discuss the prevailing situation in the Kashmir Valley. That's why the short duration discussion on the issue was taken up on the first day itself of the monsoon session. Vishal Dahiya's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, Black Day will be observed in Pakistan today in protest against what Islamabad says are atrocities by security forces. This after the Pakistani cabinet decision to declare slain Hizbul commander Burhan Wani as a martyr. Pakistan Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif had directed all relevant departments in the country to highlight the Kashmir issue at international forums. India had strongly objected to Pakistan interfering in its internal matters and had called Pakistan a terror sympathizer and supporter. Well, at least 10 CRPF commandos were killed and 5 injured in a Naxal IED blast in the jungles of Bihar's Aurangabad district on Monday. An encounter followed the ambush on the Jawans, resulting in the deaths of 3 Naxals. Some arms and ammunition were also recovered from the site. The casualties are likely to rise as some of the Jawans were critically injured from the fierce gun battle. The Jawans belong to the 205th Cobra Battalion and were deployed in the state for conducting anti-Naxal operations. This is one of the biggest casualties of the elite Cobra unit, which has been raised by the CRPF for undertaking special jungle warfare operations. In other news now, BJP leader Navjot Singh Sidhu resigned as a Rajya Sabha MP on Monday. He was nominated to the upper house on April 22nd this year. His resignation has been accepted with immediate effect by the Rajya Sabha chairman. Sidhu's move comes amid strong speculation that he could join the Aam Aadmi Party. Reports also suggest that he could be made the party's chief ministerial candidate in the upcoming state elections in Punjab. It's a big jolt for the BJP, which along with ally Shiromani Akali Dal is in a direct contest with the Aam Aadmi Party in Punjab this time around. AAP leaders, however, welcomed Sidhu's decision.
लगातार नवजोत सिंह सिद्धू जी और उनकी पत्नी अकाली दल के भ्रष्टाचार के खिलाफ, ड्रग माफियाओं के खिलाफ, किसानों की बदहाली के खिलाफ आवाज उठाते रहे हैं और मुझे लगता है कि एक बेहतर पंजाब बनाने के लिए, एक खुशहाल पंजाब बनाने के लिए, देश का नंबर 1 का पंजाब बनाने के लिए आज अच्छी शक्तियां एकजुट हो रही हैं।
सिद्धू जी पाले पार्लियामेंट पहुंच गए और उसके बाद उन्होंने एक अच्छा सर्टिफिकेट हाथ में लेकर के वहां से निकलने का फैसला किया। इसका मतलब यह है कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी में जाकर के लोग खुश नहीं हैं, या जो लोग मौजूद हैं उनमें से भी बहुत बड़ी तादाद में लोग खुश नहीं हैं। आज सिद्धू हैं, आगे पता नहीं किसका नंबर होगा।
बिना उनसे इजाजत लिए बना दिया होगा और उनको अपने पाले में ला रहे थे। वो तो सब अंदर रहे हुए हैं, यहाँ घुटन यहाँ की हालत से वाकिफ हैं, तो अपना जाल तोड़ करके निकल गए और यहाँ से जो जाल तोड़ के निकलेगा तो बड़ा मुकाम ही हासिल करेगा ना।
Well, Delhi received its first proper monsoon showers last week and the whole city had come to a standstill with commuters facing a difficult time. Several other parts of north and northeast India have been severely affected due to non-stop rains. Heavy rain on Monday morning led to waterlogging and traffic jams in several parts of the national capital. Large parts of the city were inundated and office goers and students had a tough time reaching their destinations as massive jams were reported across the city due to waterlogged streets. Roads remained submerged in water in Haridwar after several days of heavy downpour. Uttarakhand was put on alert after heavy rains pounded the province last week. Meanwhile, heavy rains affected normal life in Assam as well, forcing people to look for safer areas. The Brahmaputra is now flowing above the danger level. While some have been lucky to find shelter in government-run relief camps, others still remain stranded with arterial roads cut off and not enough boats available to travel. The monsoon has so far delivered at least 4% higher rainfall than average. The National Green Tribunal has ordered the Regional Transport Office in Delhi to deregister diesel vehicles that are more than 10 years old. The order is effective immediately, with the Green Court also asking the RTO to share data of the vehicles that will be deregistered. The court will issue a public notice in this regard and the Delhi Traffic Police will take appropriate steps in consonance with the directions of the tribunal. The tribunal had also said that such vehicles coming from other states should also not be allowed to enter Delhi. Vehicles over 15 years old are already banned in the capital. The tribunal also asked the centre what it was doing to promote the use of hybrid vehicles and buses.
केंद्र सरकार की तरफ से जो पहले एप्लीकेशन लगाई गई थी कि 10 साल पुरानी गाड़ियों से प्रदूषण नहीं होता, उस एप्लीकेशन पे एनजीटी ने अभी दरवाजे खुले रखे हैं और उस पे दोबारा से डिस्कशन होगा, दोबारा से उस पे आर्गुमेंट दिए जाएंगे और जो भी रिपोर्ट्स हैं उन सारे रिपोर्ट और उन सारे डॉक्यूमेंट के आलोक में और उन सारे दस्तावेज के आधार पर एनजीटी उस पे व्यापक आदेश करेगी।
इस ऑर्डर को इम्प्लीमेंट करने में काफी ज्यादा डिफिकल्टी आ रही थी सरकार को भी और पुलिस को भी, तो इसलिए माननीय एनजीटी ने ये डायरेक्शन दिया है कि 10 साल से पुरानी डीजल गाड़ियों का जो रजिस्ट्रेशन है आरटीओ के पास होता है वो रद्द कर दिया जाए। रद्द करने के बाद वो जो लिस्ट है वो पुलिस को दिया जाए और पुलिस उन गाड़ियों को इम्पाउंड कर सके और एक्शन ले सके एनजीटी के ऑर्डर के कंप्लायंस में।
Moving on now, the death toll in the Hooch tragedy in Etah in Uttar Pradesh has reached 33. More than 24 people were battling for life after consuming liquor in Etah and Farrukhabad districts, even as the authorities arrested 1,621 people across Uttar Pradesh. The incident occurred late on Friday when several people from villages in Uttar Pradesh's Etah district fell ill after consuming spurious liquor. The state government has announced compensation of 2 lakh rupees each to the family of the deceased. Meanwhile, Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar has expressed shock over the huge tragedy and has said that Uttar Pradesh must put a ban on sale and consumption of liquor like Bihar. Time for a short break now, but news and updates will continue on the other side. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Ghatam, one of the oldest and most unique percussion instruments of southern India. You can play it not only with your fingers, but palms, wrists and heels as well. You'll be surprised, but the air inside the Ghatam reverberates, creating the musical notes. 5 elements of nature, earth, water, air, fire and space make up the composition of this beautiful musical piece, which has found an apt place in most of the ancient books.
Welcome back. You're watching Rajya Sabha television. Well, the Republican convention is underway in Cleveland in the United States amid high security. Anti-Trump delegates have failed to block Donald Trump's nomination after a vote that would allow them to back a candidate of their choice was quashed. Here's a report.
Those in favor of the rules package will say aye.
First day of the Republican convention in Cleveland witnessed an uproar after opponents of presumptive U.S. presidential nominee Donald Trump stormed out of the room and chanted in protest at their failure to win a symbolic vote opposing his candidacy.
The motion to
explain the report only.
The anti-Trump camp wanted to change the party's nominating rules to allow delegates to support alternative Republican candidates over Trump. The furor threatened efforts by a Trump campaign to show the party had united behind him and has once again put a spotlight on the deep divisions that have emerged over his candidacy.
My point is that we should be able to have our voice. We should be able to have our voice, and that's what shows us that the party isn't listening to us.
My name is Phil Wright. I am the chair of the Utah delegation. I make a motion that we have a roll call vote on the rules.
In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it.
However, the party leaders declared there was insufficient support to allow for a roll call vote that would record the number of delegates opposed to Trump.
Secretary received requests from a total of 9 states requesting a roll call vote on adoption of report on the Committee on Rules. Subsequently, the Secretary received withdrawals, which caused 3 states to fall below the threshold required under the rules. Accordingly, the chair has found insufficient support for the request for a record vote.
Meanwhile, anti- and pro-Trump protesters also took to the streets hours before the convention.
Our country has been tongue-tied by political correctness for many years now, and he has single-handedly untied the tongues of America. And so we're speaking up, and so now patriots and citizens aren't afraid to speak up like as they have been in the past out of fear of being called a racist.
He does not have the message of the way that America should be in the 21st century. His problem is that he's looking to feed on the fear of the American people, who are angry that they haven't gotten what they think is the American dream. And it's easier to just say, oh, we're going to make America great again, than it is to solve the real problems that are facing this country. Because that takes real dialogue, real discussion, real effort, real work. It takes more than a soundbite on TV.
The Republican convention will formally coronate Donald Trump as the party's presidential candidate and Governor Mike Pence of Indiana as the vice presidential candidate. The 4-day event will conclude on Thursday with Trump delivering the acceptance speech. The Democratic convention will begin on 25th of July in Philadelphia, with Hillary Clinton poised to become the first woman nominated for president by one of the 2 major parties. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
In other international news now, the South China Sea Fleet of the Chinese Navy has recently drilled its submarines in battle-ready format. The drill aims at enhancing the overall capability of what has been known as Marines' last mile to the beach. The developments came after Beijing announced that it is closing off part of the South China Sea for military exercises this week. An area southeast of the Hainan province is closed from Monday to Thursday for the exercises. Beijing warns that during the drills, freedom of navigation patrols by foreign navies could end in disaster. Meanwhile, China also stated on Monday that it will not stop construction on the islands in South China Sea, which was awarded to the Philippines by an international tribunal, dismissing the pressure from Washington. In more international news now, an axe-wielding man attacked several people on a train in southern Germany before being shot dead by police. The assailant, armed with a knife and an axe, was identified as 17-year-old Afghan living in a nearby town. 3 people were seriously hurt and 1 suffered minor injuries. The incident happened at about 9 p.m. local time. Shortly after arriving at the station, the man attacked passengers with an axe and a knife. The attacker later fled the train, but police hunted him down with ground searches and a helicopter, and he was killed. The motive for the attack is not yet clear.
In Richtung Würzburg einen täglichen Angriff auf Zugreisende. Es sind insgesamt 3 Personen schwer verletzt worden. Eine Person ist leicht verletzt worden. Der Täter war bewaffnet mit einem Messer und einer Axt. Der Zug hat außerplanmäßig in Heidingsfeld halten müssen, ist aus dem Zug geflüchtet und ist auf der Flucht durch Einsatzkräfte erschossen worden.
Let's get you an update from Turkey now. President Recep Tayyip Erdogan's supporters continue to rally in public squares 2 days after a failed coup attempt in which 232 people were killed. More than 6,000 people have been arrested and 20,000 detained as crackdown by Turkish authorities continue on the plotters of the failed coup that attempted to topple President Erdogan's government. The government also dismissed almost 9,000 officials, including a massive number of police officers. The president has also said that he will approve the capital punishment reintroduced by parliament.
Bombaladığı parlamentodan İnşallah görüşülmek suretiyle inanıyorum ki parlamentodaki siyasi partiler bu konuda en isabetli kararı alacaktır.
Here's a roundup of the other international news in World Wrap. North Korea has fired 3 ballistic missiles towards the Sea of Japan, the South Korean military has said. Now, the missiles, believed to be Scud types, were launched from the western city of Gwangju. They flew some 500 to 600 kilometers with a range enough to reach all of South Korea. The missile test comes after the US and the South said that they would deploy an anti-missile system to counter the threats. French Prime Minister Manuel Valls was booed as he attended a minute's silence in Nice, where an attacker in a lorry killed 84 people on Thursday. Hecklers shouted out "murderer" and "resign" at him before the minute's silence held across the nation. Earlier, opposition leader Nicolas Sarkozy accused the government of failing to provide security. Acting Deputy Vice-Chancellor of a private university in Bangladesh, arrested for sheltering Islamists who carried out the country's worst terror attack at a cafe, has been suspended. Professor M. Ghias-Uddin Ashan of North-South University was suspended following his arrest on charges of sheltering militants. Police said that 5 militants who carried out the attack on Gulshan Cafe on July 1st had taken shelter in the flat owned by Ahsan. Sports news now. World Anti-Doping Agency or WADA has called for all Russian competitors and officials to be banned from the Rio Olympics and other international sporting events after an investigation found rampant state-run doping at the 2014 Sochi Winter Games and other events. The report found that Russia's main security agency helped the sports ministry in carrying out doping in as many as 30 sports. Expressing shock over the revelations, the International Olympic Committee members will hold emergency talks today to decide provisional sanctions over Russia. Russia, however, has strongly denied any state involvement in doping.
The system was set up after Russian authorities felt it was an abysmal medal count by the Russian Olympic team at the 2010 Vancouver Winter Olympics and was in place until at least August of 2015.
Well, the Supreme Court has accepted several key recommendations of the Lodha Committee on reforms in the BCCI, including a bar on ministers and civil servants and those above 70 years of age from becoming its members. However, the Apex Court left it to the Parliament to decide whether the board should come under the RTI and if betting on the game should be legalized. Here are the details.
The Supreme Court has accepted most of Justice Lodha Committee recommendations covering the BCCI's governance. The report covers wide-ranging aspects of cricket with special focus on the board's administration and governance. The Apex Court also accepted the panel's recommendation that there should be a players' association in the BCCI funded by the board, while leaving it to the board to decide the extent of the funding.
A great day for Indian sport. And I think cricket fans must rejoice the verdict of the Supreme Court. Now with the decision of the Supreme Court out, BCCI will do to have the report implemented at the earliest.
आज ये हुआ कि जो खुद चार्जशीटेड है बोर्ड संभाल रहा है उसके भी दरवाजे बंद हो गए। अच्छे लोग, अच्छे एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर की कमी नहीं है, अच्छे हिंदुस्तान में क्रिकेटर्स की कमी नहीं है जो बोर्ड को और अच्छे ढंग से चला सके, और जो पैसे के बंदरबाट हो रहे हैं, पैसे की वजह से कॉन्फ्लिक्ट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट हो रहे हैं, उन सब चीजों पे रोक लगेगी।
The Apex Court also accepted the proposal of not having a minister or bureaucrat on the board or anyone above the age of 70. However, the court has left it to the Parliament to bring the BCCI within the ambit of the RTI Act.
Whatever court has said, since it's the apex court of the country, if they have endorsed the recommendations of the Lodha panel, then obviously, we always respect the court. And we will definitely discuss all those issues, how it can be implemented.
राइट टू इन्फॉर्मेशन में बाकी सारी खेल संस्थाएं आती हैं, सिर्फ BCCI नहीं आती। वो लोढ़ा कमीशन ने रिकमेंड भी किया था, लेकिन माननीय उच्च न्यायालय ने उसको अभी के लिए छोड़ दिया है और कहा है कि जो लेजिस्लेचर है वो उसको देखे।
Meanwhile, the Supreme Court bench rejected BCCI's objection against the recommendation of one state, one vote. States like Maharashtra and Gujarat, having more than one cricket association, will now have voting rights on rotational basis. The court has given the BCCI 6 months to implement the recommendations. The Supreme Court bench also requested the 3-member Lodha panel to oversee the transition. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Here are some more reactions to the developments on the Lodha report.
There are a lot of things we have mentioned to the court that there should be, certain things we have challenged also in that. But as they have already implemented by the Supreme Court, so we will, as we get the official correspondence from the BCCI, then we'll have, we'll discuss on that in the managing committee.
We respect whatever the Supreme Court has said, and we are studying the judgment.
देखिए, लोधा कमेटी ने जो भी चीज कही है, वो BCCI को अभी देखना है और BCCI को उस पर अमल में लाना है। हमारा रोल बाद में शुरू होगा। अभी मैं सिर्फ इतना चाहता हूँ, स्पोर्ट्स के अंदर मुझे पारदर्शिता चाहिए, ट्रांसपेरेंसी चाहिए। स्पोर्ट्स को हम प्रमोट करना चाहते हैं। हम चाहते हैं साफ सुथरे स्पोर्ट्स। हम चाहते हैं बिना डिस्प्यूट, बिना विवाद के स्पोर्ट्स।
I think it was obvious. Most of the board members also were ready for this. There were a couple of issues like ad revenues and breaks and all, which I thought were unreasonable, and thankfully Supreme Court has shot it down. But other recommendations, I don't feel that they will affect the game, as it only affect few people who are ruled out by this judgment.
Well, that's it on this edition of the Breakfast News. Have a good day.